All right, there's a nice overhead shot of Luis Scott-Vargas on the left. And Josh Ravitz on the right. Looks like they're waiting for the go sign. We should be getting those deck lists here momentarily. Our graphic got everything flip-flopped right now. Once again, it'll be Luis Scott-Vargas on your left, Joshua Ravitz on your right. Both guys have played a little Magic in their time.
I can definitely say that that's true.
Land drops. Well, we see LSV on the Izzet already. Ravitz. He's got mono white in his hand and on the board.
It's going to be interesting to see what he actually pulls out. I would imagine that he's probably the blue-white deck.
And he's in right away for 2. And back to a 3-drop, and he's on his way. I mean, the Izzet deck is one that doesn't have a huge amount of comeback capability. Well, unless you're killing guys.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. There's 2 different directions you can go with the Izzet deck, and he definitely looks like he's going with the like the mid-rangey control version of the deck. The other one that really exists takes the place of the blue-white Skies deck that you see a lot of times. It's the hyper-aggressive, plays a lot of the 2-drops that you would find in Rakdos, along with the flyers that make up the blue-white deck. He's going more control. So we have a Kirun and...
So there's no real chance that he's on mono white, is there?
There's always a chance. They built their deck out of 12 packs. It's entirely possible. I mean, maybe they ended up building their other 2 with all of the cards from the other. Oh, there we go. Finally, another colored card in his hand. So the green from the Kirun is not just for show. He definitely has a Selesnya Charm in his hand. I mean, the card pool is so large, like the possibility always exists that you can build a monocolor deck if you happen to have a particularly rich set of cards from that color. It's just difficult, again, because so many of the powerful cards are of a gold persuasion that having access to that second color is really very important.
All right, we see Ravitz.
Knightly Valor. Going to give his creature +2/+2, gives it Vigilance. One of those creature enchantments we talked about being considerably stronger in this format, knowing that there is a smaller amount of solid removal.
Right, Luis coming out with more removal, but he's down 2 creatures to 1, and now chumps, and I missed what Josh just played there.
Shared Bond.
Shared Bond, right.
Yeah. Shared Bond is one of those cards that is, I mean, it's
one of the few combat tricks that we have, but I mean, putting +1 counters on 2 guys changes the math quite a bit. And we can see him get in. We'll get those life totals updated for you momentarily as well. Well, that's kind of fat. That's the Chaos Imps there from LSV, and he's chosen to not unleash it.
But Selesnya Charm likes to off giant creatures and immediately gets rid of it. And
we are done to a fast game 1 to Joshua Ravitz. We've seen in Return to Ravnica sealed, in regular sealed, it's a moderately aggressive format. Does the sort of better card pool, the more expensive card pools, lead to even more aggression?
In general, it goes one of 2 ways. With the decks that are designed to be aggressive, like generally the Rakdos deck, in regular sealed and in draft, you have the ability to play 2 different versions of that deck. You get the more mid-range version of that deck, and you get the one that is just chock full of 1 and 2 drops. And with the access to the extra cards, you tend to find 99% of the time you're going to end up favoring the highly aggressive deck because it tends to be a little stronger. We're going to go to Paul Cheon's
It looks like we're going to go to Paul Cheon against against Chris Pikula.
But yeah, to answer your question, like most of the decks tend to skew towards the aggressive deck, but the one outlier to that really is the Celestia deck, which wants to go for the heavy populate more often than not, because it's just like that much more powerful than the green-white aggressive deck you can build with the same cards.
Your guys are bigger and better and stronger.
Yeah.
Here we see Chris Pikula on the right, Paul Cheon on the left.
Looks like Pikula's running the Rakdos Unleash special. This is one of the highly aggressive decks. Loves its 1-drops, loves its 2-drops. And talking to Ben Stark about this deck earlier, basically said that all of his creatures, they shouldn't have Unleash. They should just have +1/+1 and come unable to block immediately upon coming into play.
Well, there's a choice that you can make poorly by not unleashing those guys.
So it looks like is it a Trestle Troll?
Yep. So you see we've got the life totals updated. Pikula 14, Cheon 10, and Cheon on his back feet a little bit with his Golgari deck.
You're going to start off behind when you are playing virtually any deck against the Rakdos deck. Like, that's what the deck does. It just dominates the game over the first few turns, and the whole point is to get your opponent to the point when you are going to be crushing them for that last few points of damage.
Right.
Like it's.
And Cheon's going to regrow his. Is that the Daddy Longlegs?
Golgari Longlegs, yeah, looks like it is.
And cast it.
Nice 5/4 monster, completely dominating the board. That Trestle Troll is also doing work. I mean, his deck's really well set up. Like once he gets to this point to deal with the highly aggressive creatures. I mean, having a Trestle Troll going to be able to block. You've got Regenerator, although it's not doing any not any blocking on his side. I mean, he's also gonna have a 5/4. Like at some point, he's going to be able to turn the tables. I mean,
so how's the if the Golgari deck stabilizes here again with the Golgari Longlegs, the Trestle Troll? What's Pikula's path to victory? Is it just cast more guys, get into even unfavorable combat situations, but still do a lot of damage, play a finisher?
I mean, ultimately, yeah. Like the one benefit that it's got is after it gets its opponent down to 8 or so life, there are a lot of cards that the Rakdos deck has available to it that are going to be able to just finish the game. It's got the Traitor's Urge.
Traitor's, right?
Yeah, is going to be one card that just absolutely wins the game out of nowhere. And you've got that combined with Explosive Impact. It's just a Lava Axe, effectively. Very good at finishing things off. Plus, I mean, most of the bombs you're going to find, you will in 12 packs more than likely open up 1 bomb black or red card. Or 1 bomb black-red card. And these cards are going to be able to just finish games off.
Well, we see Pikula has 1 Traitorous Instinct in his deck, and that's certainly a card that radically changes the combat math. There aren't that many haste guys in the format. There are only 9 creatures with haste, so that you don't really have to pay attention to those. Although we see one of them there from Paul Cheon, the Dregmangler.
Yeah. I think it's actually the card that Pikula has in his hand.
Is Traitorous Instinct?
Yeah.
The board's getting a little tight here. Now, I mean, the Rakdos deck doesn't want to be behind in numbers of creatures at any point.
No.
And he's then Pikula down 5-4 at this moment.
But at the same time, it looks to me like, he's got his Grim Roustabout is unleashed, so it's not a blocker. So technically, if he had the instinct here, he could steal one of Cheon's creatures, and then he would be up 5-2 when it comes to blockers. And giving a creature +2/+0 in haste. I mean, the one downside is that the creature that he takes doesn't gain trample.
Right.
And so unless he steals something that's got trample, it's very clearly getting blocked by his opponent's one of his opponent's creatures. But at the same time, it's also going to be trading for at least one of his other creatures.
Right.
And if he gets lucky and chooses right, I mean, he can force a situation where he gets to trade off 2 creatures and puts him well ahead.
Okay, Cheon living off the top here, but he's got Pikula at 9 life. He's got to be very careful. He's got to be very careful about attacking and then getting a counter strike.
True, But at the same time, the one downside to the Unleash mechanic is the fact that your creatures can't block. So Pikula looks like he's got 4 untapped creatures. Only one of them's a blocker.
Right.
So
he's going to get in there with the Troll.
Pikula decides to block with his first striker. It's going to force Cheon to regenerate there.
The Grim Roustabout generates. Trade at the top.
Annihilating Fire. It's possible that was the card that I saw in his hand. The artwork has got similar bright patches. Oh, wait, no.
Did you just draw another one?
Either. Yeah, he did. Wow.
And so, again, the math can change pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean.
Now, the life totals here in the half range, Cheon at 10 and Pikula at 9. You got to be really careful you don't get into an unfavorable situation when you're the Golgari deck to be within striking range of some direct damage.
Certainly true. And Pikula's going to waste no time, take advantage of the first strike to actually kill off that
Golgari
5/4
long legs.
creature. Yep. It does.
Okay, so Cheon then casts his Ogre Jailbreaker.
It looks, based on things at the bottom, that Paolo has taken the first game against Andrew Cuneo in the 3rd match that's ongoing at this table.
Report from our director, Rashad Miller, that those counts are accurate.
Okay. Well, it looks like an Ogre Jailbreaker is going to provide yet another large body for Cheon that Pikula is going to have to deal with. And there it is.
The Traitorous Instinct. Treacherous Urge.
Yeah.
Traitorous, Treacherous.
Tomato. Apple.
So again, Traitorous Instinct, it's a sorcery.
Yep.
You gain control of a target creature until the end of turn, you untap it, and it gets haste and +2/+0.
Yeah, it looks like Pikula is fortunate enough to have hiding under that first mountain on the bottom of the screen there, Rakdos Guildgate, so that he can actually attack with the the Ogre when he steals it.
Right, he knocks Cheon down to 5.
Let's see. He does not appear to have an explosive impact in his deck, so he's going to have to find his 5 points from somewhere else. Now, this is an interesting fight because the way these decks are designed, the Rakdos deck is like an aggressive, low-cost deck, and those tend to be trumped by the more mid-rangey styles of deck that wait a couple of turns before they really get kicking by comparison, but their creatures are just so much larger that they're ultimately able to take over the game since both decks rely on combat. And that's what the black-green deck tends to be. Its 3-drops and 4-drops are just so much better than the 2-drops that come out from Pikula's deck that, at some point it seems likely that you would expect the black-green deck to kind of take over as the game progresses.
But you see the very low life total, so on any swing.
Ooh. And Rixmati Augur Mage there. Ability to shrink any blockers really gives you, that's really good against this mid-range deck because it gives you the ability to take back control of combat. The second ability there to
no card, right? Oh no, you're 5, right?
with only, Cheon's only got 2 blockers, so bare minimum, Pikula's going to get through with one of his creatures, and he does have 2 black-red activations up to force Cheon to lose some additional life there, although it looks like, even best case scenario. And so he has the ability to regenerate the one that gets blocked there and get through for an extra point of damage.
Well,
which would knock Cheon down to 2.
Pikula knows that Cheon doesn't have any tricks in his hand because he has no cards in his hand.
Yeah. Then again, it doesn't look like Cheon does either.
Well, again, Chris knows his. I mean, his guys aren't blocking, so he's got to get in there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, his only path to win it, stalling this game is not in the Rakdos.
No.
Hit a 5, so I can't kill him.
Yeah, that guild mage is just absolutely backbreaking here. I mean, he gets to basically choose how he's going to kill Cheon. Like, would he rather kill him immediately, or would he rather wait and make sure that he kills him in a couple of turns? Which is exactly what he chose to do. Make sure that he's going to at least keep the larger creatures off the table and be able to whittle Cheon down at some point. Like, the combination of that plus a first striking creature is also just incredibly powerful. Like, just gives him complete and utter control over combat.
Right. So the first ability on Rich Mighty Guild Mage, blocking creature gets -1/-1. Doesn't require tapping, just a black and a red mana, which Chris has plenty of. So he can shrink something. And the other, again, doesn't require the tap. Black, red, target player who lost a life this turn loses another life. So, well, there's a thing. There's Vraska.
Speaking of cards that have many abilities.
A little bit. When we were talking earlier, you were saying a little bit of this format is about the bombs, but most of it is about the cards you're normally going to get.
Yeah, you're going to see more of those, but at the same time, like, because of the fact you're opening 12 packs, like the number of bombs, like the number of everything that you're going to open in your card pool, you could effectively multiply by 2. And everybody's going to have something insane in their deck. That's just guaranteed. And Paul seems to have an incredibly good insane card in his deck. I mean, Vraska gives you the chance to. I mean, Vraska will win games out of nowhere. Like,
right.
It enables you to just immediately deal with anything that is really giving you trouble with that middle ability, the -3.
Yep.
Yeah, destroy target non-land permanent. And then on top of that, you have the ability to protect yourself with those assassin. Or sorry, not the assassins, with the ability to just petrify any attackers,
right.
Which is going to be really good against. I mean, Pikula's faced. He's got him down to 1. Like, the one benefit, the one thing that he's got really on his side is he's playing a deck that has red mana and has his opponent down to single-digit life totals.
Right.
So.
All right, they're both at 1, so something good got to come from Chris Pikula here.
It's a crocodile, though. The lifelink off of that guy is going to give Cheon the ability to start gaining life and get himself out of the danger zone, which might just literally push things over the edge.
Well, I mean, if Pikula has no way to kill him here, he's just
dead anyway.
He's dead on the crackback, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's only got 2 guys.
He's
only got 2 guys. Cheon has 3, so.
Looks like according to the match,
he's going in.
Josh Ravitz is even thing, or Luis Scott-Vargas is even things up against Josh Ravitz. Yeah.
There it is. There's the lifelink. And we're done.
Yeah, I mean, I just need him to brick on one of those 2 drops.
Ravitz 120. Okay, my mistake. Looks like our number is there. Well, now it's getting fixed.
All right, so we have from our crack staff that Josh Ravitz has taken his match 2-0 to Luis Scott-Vargas, and we're going to go back to. We're going to go to the one match we haven't seen yet: Paulo Vitor Darmada Rosa versus Andrew Cuneo. Now, we're talking. Whoa.
That is a board state.
That's a board state. There's a lot of guys out there. Well, you've got the Golgari versus the Selesnya, and what Selesnya does is make a lot of dudes.
Yeah, I mean, the really good versions of the deck also, like they're not actually making small creatures. Like, they're tending to make the 3/3 centaurs. It looks like that's what PV's deck is going to be doing. But at the same time, like, Cuneo's also likes to make big creatures. He just likes to make them after his little creatures have done their deed and then died at some point.
Now, we'll get the life totals updated here momentarily. This is a study in contrast in player style, or player type. Paulo recognized one of the great players of all time, tends to play in constructed formats existing archetypes. He's not sort of pushing the envelope of anything. He's just doing the best thing better than most other people do it. Andrew Cuneo, on the other hand, has the reputation of being a brewer and being a great magic mind.
Yeah.
Putting together innovative combinations of things.
Yeah, the big difference between the two of them, at least how they approach the tournaments, PV he plays the best deck in the format. Like, he plays the best deck in the format, and he tries to play it better than everybody else in the format, like Field does.
And he's capable of doing that.
Totally. And then Cuneo knows how he likes to play, and so he wants to find the best deck for him, not necessarily the best deck in the format, although there have been times when the best deck for him was something that he designed and happened to be the best deck in the format. I mean, it's just... It's a question of knowing yourself. PV feels completely at home playing any variety of deck. There are some that he likes better than others, but he feels at home playing whatever he feels gives him the best chance to win.
Right.
Which could be anything from fairies to zoo. I've seen him play both. Cuneo likes to play islands. He likes to play decks or games that will go to turn 30. And it looks like they gave him a deck that is going... I mean, it is nice because it looks like all of his team is playing decks that really, really suit their play styles. I mean, Pikula, Dead Guy Red, was one of the premier aggressive decks, spawned an entire archetype that spanned years. I mean, Sly, all those aggressive decks wouldn't exist without that. And he's playing the team's Rakdos deck. And then you get Cuneo, who's like a very, very controlling, slow the game down kind of player, playing the very high attrition, very, very long, drawn-out Golgari deck. It looks like at the current state of things, Cuneo has a slim last advantage at 15 to 13. The board is incredibly full, but there's a lot of potential to start to do some scary things on Cuneo's side of the board. He's got that Corpse Jack Menace, and he's got multiple creatures in play that have Scavenge.
Right. I was just going to point out the Deadbridge Goliath, which is big anyway. It's 5/5, and then if it's Scavenge, he can throw it in to kill something on the trade, and scavenge it back for...
I think that's a Drudge Beetle, though. That the 2/2 guy that scavenges.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
I mean, both the guys he's got are two +1/+1 counters, which ultimately becomes 4 +1/+1 counters. When you get to add them to his flying lifelinker, is that the lifelinking imp there? It is, yeah. I mean,
so Cuneo back up to 18, Rosa down to 13. We should point out that Paolo is up a game in this match.
Yeah, that Dagger Drum imp is just going to do work when he gets an insane number of counters on him, and
he's got 4 on it already.
Yep. We see Paolo with a couple of flyers, at least one flyer in play. Okay, so adds a few more dorks to the side of the table.
Well, I mean, that's the Brush Strider, of course, that Paolo just dropped. The 3/1 Vigilance guy. Pass the turn relatively quickly. When the board state gets clogged like this, these guys are going to play at a slightly brisker pace because they want to make sure that they get to subsequent games.
Yeah.
But again, that imp doing some work as a 5/5, and now I was going to say now there's a sort of an inevitability to the position. Well, did Paolo not? Oh, it looked like he's about to scoop him up, but has decided not to.
Maybe he'll show him another card. I mean, he does technically have. I mean, he's got one flyer at least to chump right now, so he's not dead.
Yep, there's the chump. Cuneo goes up to 33. Paolo down at 3, takes another draw. The Selesnya deck has a lot of good dudes, but you're not coming back from a 28 to 3 deficit.
No,
with a bunch of guys on the table.
Yeah, I mean, Cuneo had a 7/7 flying lifelinker.
Right.
That if you had a 7/7 flying lifelinker in your deck on a single card, we would call that a bomb.
Right.
So,
so having it in the deck, having the Dagger Dome imp in the deck with the scavenge guys can make it pretty spicy.
Holy goblins!
All right, we're back to Paul Cheon and Chris Pikula.
It looks like this is
Cheon up 1 game. And Pikula has made some goblins, which we always like to see here on GG's Live.
Yeah, this is definitely the other way that Pikula's deck has to combat like the mid-range cards that you're going to see out of Cheon's deck. Like Cheon's decks are going to be better, but Pikula's just going to have way more guys. And if you can get your opponent low, all you need to do is poke through a couple of times, and you're going to be able to finish the game off.
Chris has obviously played the Goblin Rally. That's 5-mana sorcery, gives him 4 1/1 goblins.
This is kind of cool, though, seeing the Dead Reveler on Cheon's side. That's one of those cards that can fit in either of these decks, but it definitely fills a totally different role in both decks. It has the ability to be a 3/4 unable to block creature, which it always is in Pikula's side.
Right.
But Cheon has the ability to, if
Not
he's playing
unleash it.
against the aggressive deck like here, I mean, a 2/3 blocker for 3 is still really, really good. And if he's playing against one of the slower decks in the field, or a deck where he doesn't absolutely have to slam down a defender, like he gets to do the same thing. And it's interesting that like in one deck you have the option exists, but in the other deck, sure you could make it that, but if you're doing it, you're playing the card.
Right. We see Cheon with the Golgari long legs. Really, I mean that big 5/4 guy is really holding the fort down.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And that Ogre Jailbreaker is going to take a nice little shot in the stomach there. Yeah. Stab Wound is one of those cards that I really, really like. I mean, it's a removal for a smaller creature if you really absolutely need it to be. But then again, also, it turns your opponent's creatures into ticking time bombs, more or less. You've given them a clock, and if you can shrink your opponent's creature down to like a 2/2 or something like that, especially with Pikula's deck, look at all those 1/1s that he's got.
Yep.
He can jump block that guy till the cows come home, and each turn, I mean, even if he didn't have the blockers, he's trading 2 for 2.
Right.
And now he can stop it without killing it at some point. That's really the dangerous thing.
Well, and especially a deck like Cheon's that wants to sort of stabilize.
Yeah.
Well, if you now with the Stab Wound, if you're stabilized, you're losing life every turn.
Yeah, you're on the clock, and it's nice to have a clock that you don't have to do anything for. It's a permanent source of 2 damage to Cheon. I mean, all Pikula's got to do is at some point get Cheon low, and then watch his enchantment do the rest of the work.
Yeah. Cheon has made a second Golgari Longlegs. All right, let's start the over/under on how many times I'm going to call that Daddy Longlegs over the weekend.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out whether the number should be 2 digits or 3 digits. Right now, to be perfectly fair.
And Chris, perfectly content to put another guy down and just pass the turn.
Yeah, which is really interesting. Like, he's put himself in a situation where it is correct for him to play his creatures and go ahead and give them the +1/+1 counters, but not actually attack with them.
Right.
I mean, they're not going to do anything on defense either, but he's created a situation where he's given Cheon a moat, more or less, because now Pikula doesn't want to attack in, but at the same time, I mean, Cheon can't really start to attack back either because he doesn't want to lose his own guys.
All right, that's the Dead Reveler that the Stab Wound is on. Oh, here come the Golgari Longlegs. I mean, Pikula does have to watch out here because those guys are 5/4s. They're gonna go unblocked.
Launch party. That is. Oh wow.
Oops.
Yeah, trading a 1/1 for 5
5.
points of damage and killing your opponent's 5/4 is
Seems
pretty
good.
solid. Yeah. That's actually something that Cheon can do right now. Give him an opportunity to get rid of his creature with a Stab Wound on it. That Jailbreaker is a bad thing for him right now. And it looks like Cheon had his own Stab Wound, but chose not to play it.
Oh. He's tapped 3, so what's he gonna do? Yep, he's gonna Stab Wound a guy.
Shrink the 3/3 for a striker down to a 1/1 and apply the same clock to Pikula. It's a good thing that he played that after the launch party was played.
Right. Now these are 2 guys that have been around long enough. They could have been playing in a feature match a decade ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there were definitely a couple of nationals, like right before Pikula stopped playing as consistently as he originally was, and I guess you could say the same for Cheon. This is right when Cheon was starting to bud, also.
Right.
So, yeah, there was definitely a good amount of like career overlap with the 2 of those guys, and That's one cool thing about this weekend. I mean, you're going to see players who have been playing the game for a very long time. Some of the big old names, like John Finkel and the OMS brothers are here. Like, there's Team Antarctica, one of the most dominant teams that has ever played the game, is
and they're
back
be
together
here
for this weekend. Yeah, it's so insane.
Well, I mean, you think of Brian Kibler as a newer guy, but he's been playing a long time, and he's together with Justin Gary and John Fiorillo, and I mean those are guys that could have been playing in 2000 or
in
2001
90s,
in the 90s.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Cheon loses his 2, goes down to 12, and into the tank, I think.
I mean, he does have the advantage right now. Like, I mean, even though he's down in life, he's got multiple creatures that are large enough that he can feel comfortable attacking. In order to get rid of that 5-4, I mean, Pikula is going to have to do some serious trading of resources or continue to chump block and take those points of damage.
Towering Indrik is going to hold both the ground and the air a little while for Cheon. Being a 2-4 with some reach.
Ooh, an abrupt decay. That's a good way to get rid of a stab wound. Although I find it a little weird that an abrupt decay is a way to get rid of an injury. Then just lop it off. I don't need this anymore.
Attention players, sign up for booster draft number 9. I need you at the public event stage.
Pikula's thinking about something.
See, I mean, certainly abrupt decay can't be countered.
No, but I mean, he's doing this during combat before damage, so the Gatekeeper goes from a 2-2 back up to a 4-4 mid-combat. Pikula might have been thinking about trying to kill it, or at least, oh yeah, it looks like he's got an Annihilating Fire in his hand, and so that would have been, he had the opportunity to kill it, actually, in response, but chose not to.
Well, he wants to hang on, he probably wants to hang on to that Annihilating Fire for the 3 damage. I mean, if he's going to win this game, it's going to be when the margins are very, very slim.
Certainly.
And he's either going to want to cast that to change the combat math, or as a finisher.
He certainly found himself in a tight spot, though. Like, the game has gotten to the point when the larger, the larger creatures of Cheon are really starting to dominate combat. And
right. Again, that Indrik controlling with the big back end, controlling both the ground and the air.
I mean, creatures with a 4 toughness are really good against the Black Rat deck. I mean, most of their removal spells deal 3 damage or like give -2 toughness, and like you're not going to find too many creatures from their deck that are going to have more than a 3 power. Like, it tends to be about, just over a 2 would be the average of most creatures in this decks, because even the guys who are unleashed, I mean, you get the Dead Reveler who becomes a 3-powered creature. You get the Chainwalker who becomes a 3-powered creature. They fold to a creature with a 4 toughness.
Oh, looks like the Indrik is coming into the. He thought about attacking with the Indrik and the Reveler.
I mean, he's at the point now. I mean, I bet he's a little worried about the swing back, having seen the Treacherous Urge. And
right.
But I mean, he's got Pikula on the point right now, and in order to survive, Pikula has 2 options. Like, he can either continue to chump block and hope that he gets there with something later, or he's going to need to make a decision about sacrificing a large number of permanents in order to kill 1 creature. Which,
right.
I mean,
so he gets in with the long legs and the Jailbreaker. Pikula takes the 4 from the Jailbreaker, chumps the long legs.
Probably looking to, he might Annihilating Fire to finish it off.
But again, he's got to be thinking about winning the game, not just stalling it out.
Well, true, but at the same time, like, to continue to chump block is stalling it out. Like, he's losing the resources that he needs to kill his opponent. Like, he needs those creatures. He doesn't have like the big 5 damage spells to end the game, and his opponent's still at 10. Like, he's got to, if he wants to win, he has to get to a point when his creatures matter again. And he's going to need to kill off the larger creatures on Cheon's side at some point. I mean, this is a very tough spot to be in, because there is a point of inflection where it becomes more about shoring up the way the board looks than thinking towards using your burn spells to kill your opponent. And he's at that point right now.
We know that Chris is playing a Dynacharge in his deck, so that can rapidly change.
Yeah.
Dynacharge is an overload spell, and its cost is only 3. Red and 2, all your guys get +2/+0 till end of turn.
Yeah, he does choose to actually burn it away. And that's really good. That's actually, that's one of those cards that can work out really well for him in this matchup, not only but it's a kill card, but he can use it, I mean, you can use it defensively as well. He's got enough small creatures, assuming he hasn't made all of his creatures, his unleashed creatures, he's going to be able to block at some point and turn around combat. But, I don't know, he's put himself, well, he hasn't put himself, Cheon has put him in a tough place right now.
Yeah, well, that Jailbreaker, oh, the whole team's coming in, the Reveler, the Jailbreaker, and the Towering Indrik.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's a good math decision for Paul Cheon.
Oh, yeah. He's gotten to the point now when...
There's the Augur Spree to kill the Jailbreaker. He's still going to take 4, dropping the 4.
And this is perfect, classic example of aggro versus mid-range. And definitely reached that point in the game when Cheon's larger creatures matter.
Right. Well, the Unleashed guy's not blocking, so he's getting in with it. And now he's obviously going to chump with the Goblin.
I would like to stay alive for one more turn, please. I have no idea.
No
what
flash
he can draw here.
spells. No. I mean, he can't. He can't block.
Yeah, see if another Goblin Rally. That'd be kind of cool.
Goblin Rally would be quite something.
Nope, looks like he's only got 1.
That's what I felt when I unleashed it, like game 1. I was like, I kind of wish I did. That's just on the play. Yeah, of course. You went with your deck. Oh, yeah.
So he's in.
Oh. That is a very nice giant flying creature there, but I highly doubt that Cheon is going to be worried about attacking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't matter. Desecration Demon coming down for Chris Pikula, but at that point it was a turn too late.
Yeah.
All right, so Paul Cheon takes his match 2-0 from Chris Pikula. Let me check with...
It appears as of right now...
We're going to go back over to the Cuneo.
Oh, wow. Now this is
the Cuneo Paolo match, and looks like there's a lot of pressure here from Paolo. Only one guy on Cuneo's side.
So I'm going to assume that is a Centaur and a... No, that's 2 Centaurs in play.
Did the Goblin token guy leave?
Seller of Songbirds, right?
So it looks like a duo of Centaurs on Paolo's side. This game does not appear to have too much more in it.
Seller of Songbirds, Sunspire Griffin over there, a couple of Centaurs, like Nate said.
Yeah, I mean, that Deathrite Shaman, does that even give him enough to stabilize? No, I mean, not stabilize, but survive again?
Survive.
Yeah.
Okay, those life totals are accurate. Rosa 19, Cuneo 5.
Yeah, so that activation will put him up to 7, and he's got 6 coming through, looks like, unless Paolo has something, which... There you go. That shared... Yeah, this is... This looked from the moment we flipped over like it was going, like it had been at this point.
Right.
This point,
Well, I mean, that common bond that Paolo just cast.
That is
making
legal at this point.
2 of his guys +1 bigger.
He decided to put both on the Seller of Songbirds, make it into a relevant creature. But yeah, I mean, Cuneo's.
There's a lot more permanence on that.
I mean, without some kind of fog effect, I think Cuneo's up against the wall here.
Yeah, I mean, he's dead on board unless he's got something in his hand to kill one of the creatures that's attacking. So.
Cuneo, like the great player he is, thinking through all his options, wondering if he's got anything to stay alive.
There's 4 mana. Is it a launch party? Whee!
So he's gonna sacrifice his dude,
Kills the 3/4.
kill the seller.
What if you go?
All right. Now he's just facing down 2 3/3s and a 2/2 flyer on his next turn.
And that's 8. That seems like 8 points of damage to me. So he's definitely got to have a dude.
Now
One
we're
hand,
going
one
on.
in the bin. Oh wait, my mistake. That's search for a creature or land.
Yep.
Top 5. So if
And he's gonna cast a troll. It's not still gonna. I don't think it's still gonna matter.
no. Yeah, and that'll do it. So it looks like the team of Paolo, Vitor Dama de Rosa, Luis Scott-Vargas, and Paul Cheon has won their first played match of the day.
So Dama de Rosa, Scott-Vargas, Cheon takes the match 2-1 from Cuneo, Ravitz, Pikula.
TV player,
So
time the round. Active player, please finish your turn and play 5 additional turns. Once again,
and that was it.
TV players, that is time.
So Rashad Miller probably going to bring us back here into the studio.